What's up, everybody? This is the Hedge Mage, and welcome back to another video and another Friday Night Magic report. So, this week at Friday Night Magic, I kind of just wanted to play one of my favorite decks, have some fun. Wasn't really looking to be super competitive, whatever with whatever list I was bringing. So I decided to bring a moggwarts, which just also happens to be the first popper deck that I built. And I was honestly really surprised with the performance that it had at the event over this last week. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna go over exactly what I'm running in the current list, as well as how each matchup went at the event. But before we get into that, if you would like to support the channel, if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate the support. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. All right, so we're gonna start things off by taking a look at what I'm currently running in the main deck. We're gonna start with the creatures. First, we got 4 copies of Skirk Prospector, which is main piece of the combo. It is our sacrifice outlet for our persist creature because we are a persist combo, where we use this to basically generate infinite mana. Once we have that, all we need is our win con, and we can effectively end the game at that point. We also got 4 copies of Goblin Matron, which is just a really great tutor for the deck. Can grab any one of our missing combo pieces, what that be a Skirk Prospector or a Putrid Goblin. Also, there are some win cons in the deck that are also goblins, so we can grab those with the Matron as well. So very good tutor for the deck. Also running 4 copies of Putrid Goblin. This is our persist creature, so one of the main parts of the combo as well. Then we got 1 copy of Dark Dweller Oracle. This card, we can, obviously it's a goblin, so we can tutor this with a Goblin Matron. Which this lets us do is basically draw our entire deck after we have our infinite mana and our persist loop online. So we can then use this to draw our deck and find whatever win con we need. Also got 1 copy of Flameweave Invoker. Once we have the infinite mana, we can use our Goblin Matron or to find this card, or just play this card if we already have it in our hand and deal infinite damage. Then on to the artifacts. So I've been running 4 copies of Candy Trail, which I've honestly been really loving. The life gain and card draw from this is very, very pivotal, especially in, well, the life gain especially against the red decks, as sometimes you just need to gain that extra 3 life so that you can survive long enough to get your combo going. So I've really been loving Candy Trail in the deck. Also running 4 copies of Ichor Wellspring, a pretty solid card, especially with a Deadly Dispute. Have been thinking of switching it out for some copies of Lembas, as that's another way to gain some additional life. But I do like being able to draw more cards with this when we sacrifice it to a Deadly Dispute. So haven't really committed to the Lembas plan yet. Also got 4 copies of Chromatic Star, another utility artifact that we can draw an extra card with our Deadly Disputes. Also helps fix our mana if that's ever an issue. Sometimes there has been situations where I've needed to fix my mana and able to start going off. Hasn't really come up a lot, though. It definitely does have a use in the deck. Now we also got 3 copies of Rowan's Grim Search. This is a new spell that, or a new card that came out. What's it? I think it was in the recent Eldraine set, Wilds of Eldraine, I believe, and they introduced this ability called Bargain, which is really great in their deck, since in our deck, since we do have tons of artifacts and we do create tokens. So being able to, this allows us to effectively look at 6 cards in our deck, so that is pretty nice. So if we bargain it, we get to look at the top 4, and if we don't like any of those cards, if they're not what we need, we can just throw those in our graveyard, and then we get to draw 2. And it does have like kind of a Sign and Blood effect, so you do lose 2 life from that draw, but we don't really care. We're just trying to get all the pieces we need and make sure we can pull off our combo before our opponents run us over. And we also got 4 copies of Deadly Dispute. So just a pretty much a staple in the format. It's just a really solid card. It creates you mana, draws you cards. With our Wellsprings or our Chromatic Shards, 2 mana to draw 3 cards and create a treasure token. So that which is just pretty insane. And then we also got 4 copies of Unearth. Now, this really helps us stabilize if any of our combo pieces have been dealt with, or we can just unearth our Goblin Matron to grab our win con after we have made infinite mana. And then one of the other main parts of the combo here, we got our first day of class. So this allows us to have a loop with our persist creature, our putrid goblin. So we can use this to basically loop infinite death and ETB triggers, and also making infinite mana with our sacrifice outlet in our Skirk Prospector. I also got 1 copy of Makeshift Munitions, which this is a win con in the deck that we can use. And we can either, if we already have it, we can just play it, obviously because we got infinite mana, or we can find it with our Dark Dweller Oracle. So this can basically draw our deck until we find the Makeshift Munitions. All right, then in the mana base, we got 4 copies of Great Furnace, 4 Vault of Whispers, 4 copies of Dross Forge Bridge. So we basically maxed out our artifact lands mostly for Deadly Dispute, and also we also have the Rowan's Grim Search, which these are all artifacts, so we can sacrifice them to that as well. It's not either of those situations are not necessarily ideal for us, though they really do help us casting those spells. All right, then we also got 1 copy of Tramway Station, so this is just another land that can help us draw extra cards. And 1 copy of Rakdos Carnarium. I'm running just one of these just to kind of fix our mana. It's just making sure we have all the colors we need at the time that we need it. Can be very, very important. I also got 1 basic swamp and 3 basic mountains. And then in the sideboard, I got 3 copies of Pyroblast, 3 Nihil Spell Bombs, 3 copies of Duress, 1 Pyromantics. Now, this Pyromantics, I have been keeping this in against those blue mages that think they're really smart and are just going to wait for us to play out our hand and then counter our win con. So Pyromantics is was a card that I have brought in against them since it's really hard for the blue mages to interact with because of the replicate side of it. So with infinite mana, we can just replicate this infinite times. Unless they have infinite counter spells, there's not really much they can do. All right, and then I also got 3 copies of Cast and Fire. Really great card against the affinity decks. 1 Krug Clan Shaman, and then 1 copy of a Braid. And Braid can be kind of nice. It's definitely has felt really good in certain matchups I've played, and I just really like the versatility of it. As Affinity is out there, they are a very strong deck, though all the glitters has been banned now. We still got to worry about Grixis, which is a very solid deck, and they can really get going pretty fast, and that deck can be pretty tough for this one to deal with. So a braid gives us some nice versatility in either being a bolt effect or just some artifact removal. And that's the deck. So let's talk about the matchups. Well, match one, we played against, I believe it was a homebrew of sorts. They were going for some Golgari Crimes type of deck. So it had a lot of these new desert lands in the deck, and then Raven of Fell Omens, and just a lot of different ways to commit crimes through things like cast down and other just targeted removal. So I think we saw some duress as well. Yeah, so they were just committing tons and tons of crimes and just hoping to drain us with the Raven. And they did come pretty close to killing us, though the deck was a little bit on the grindier side, which was kind of a perfect matchup for us, as we kind of just I just kind of waited for them to tap out, and then I just pulled off the combo. We went 2-0 against that deck. It did I did have to start bringing in like some answers with the I dropped a makeshift munitions on game 2, which I ended up sacrificing a bunch of artifacts and creatures to that just just to get rid of some of their creatures, as the Ravens were putting a lot of pressure on us and they really were slowly killing us throughout that match. So we definitely did have to play less of uh less of a game where we're just trying to go really hard towards that combo and really pay more attention and actually acknowledging that our opponent has a board state. But we did end up winning that match. And then on match 2, we went up against blue white familiars. Now, this was a match I kind of had a feeling that one of the players that usually plays familiars was there. I kind of had a feeling that they were going to be playing that deck again, and I was honestly kind of hoping that I wouldn't get matched up with them. But guess what? We did get matched up for them. So they did win game 1. We probably played for at least 40 minutes, and we have about, I don't know, about 55 minutes to finish our matches. At so I was like kind of hoping I was going to get like the probably best draw that I possibly could in order to get a win and then get a draw with that match. We did end up getting a great hand, and I was able to bait out their counter spells with other things, and then had a pyroblast lined up for the spell that really mattered, and we did win that game. We did go to time. I think we were on the final turn when I did pull off that combo and just end the game right then and there, even though I think they had even pulled off theirs and had infinite life. But since we have infinite damage, we do not really care about infinite life. I'm mostly worried about baiting out their counter spells at the precise moments. So we did end up successfully doing that. Who knows who, if we had unlimited time, who knows who would have ended up winning that match if we were able to play the third game. But Familiars is a very, very, very grindy deck. So unfortunately, we were not able to do that. Still was a great match. The final match of the evening was against Walls Combo. So that's right, everyone. We did have two combo mirrors during the course of this event. I think we played two, maybe three games. I can't remember exactly how many games we played, but it was definitely very much a race to see who could get all their combo pieces set up before the other, which was very fun. I mean, we were basically both just playing solitaire, just trying to outrace each other, and they were some very close games. So in any games where one of us had won, basically the other player was going to win the turn later. So it was very much a race, and it was a very, very fun match. Uh, was like kind of surprised with all the with playing two combo mirrors. That's not really kind of what I expected going in. I was kind of expecting that, maybe I'd win some games here and there, but I'd probably be going up against a lot of mid-range and aggressive strategies. You see a lot of control and a lot of aggro at my LGS, so I wasn't really expecting to do terribly well. I just kind of wanted to play one of my favorite decks and just have some fun shuffling up some cardboard and turning them sideways. And that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks again to everyone who stuck around the end. You are definitely a very cool person, but I would like to know what you all think. Do you play moggwarts? Do you like it? Have you played against it? And do you hate it? Would really like to know your thoughts on the list that I brought, as well as maybe your experience playing it or playing against it, and how you kind of feel it slots into the current metagame. Very curious to know what you think about that down in the comment section below. As always, I hope you all are having a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time.